Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Peace be with you and the blessings and mercy of God. Welcome to a live lesson on A-level maths, pure maths. This is year 2, chapter 1, example 9 on partial fractions. So this time we are looking at splitting a fraction where we're thinking that it's been made up of 3 fractions. How do we know that? Well, let's take an example of 3 fractions. And if I said you had to add these 3 fractions together, you'd first try and get a common denominator. You've got 3 fractions, so a very easy way of getting a common denominator is to multiply the 3 denominators. So it's not a surprise if your denominator ends up with whatever you get when you multiply the 3 denominators. So working backwards, if you now have a fraction that you're trying to split, then you just count the denominators, and if you find that there's 3 denominators or 3 parts to the denominator, then you know that that fraction was originally obtained from adding 3 fractions together. So let's try that with this example. We're working through the Pearson Excel book, and we're on example 9 of the first chapter. So here we have to split into partial fractions, and the fraction is on the top 6x squared. I'll put the squared inside a second. Plus 5x minus 2, and on the bottom the denominator is made up of x times x minus 1 times 2x plus 1. Okay, let me just check the sound and everything is working. Yeah, and let's just finish off that bracket. So we want to split this into 3 fractions because we notice that the denominator is made up of 3 parts, and these are really called factors because they times together to make the whole thing. So we'll just call them factors from now on, and that means 3 factors, 3 fractions. On the top I don't know what I'll have, so I'll just put a. On the bottom of the first fraction, I'm going to have my x from my first factor. Then I'll have a second fraction. On the bottom, I know I've got x minus 1. But on the top, I don't know what I'll have, so I'll just put b. And then the third fraction, don't know what I'll have at the top, but at the bottom, I'm going to have the 2x plus 1. Now to find out the a, the b, the c, it's going to take a bit of work, and you don't have to do anything more than just add the fractions as if you didn't know what the answer was. So if I hid away the answer, the fraction I'm trying to split, and I just showed you these 3 fractions to add, the first thing you have to try to do is get a common denominator. So the easiest way is to take all 3 denominators, providing they're different, and to multiply the 3 denominators together. So here I'm going to extend out the line. I'm going to need quite a bit of space on this one because it is a long one. So I'm going to extend out the line, and what I'm seeing is that I've got x already, but I need an x minus 1 and a 2x plus 1. So that can come here. But whatever you do to the bottom, whatever you times the bottom by, you have to times the top as well. So it's not a surprise if you'll see now that I'm going to write the same x minus 1 times the same 2x plus 1 on the top as well. Remember, all three fractions have to have the same denominator. So now you're turning your attention to the second one. You've already got x minus 1. So we're going to need to times by x. And we're going to need to times by the 2x plus 1. Again, whatever I times on the bottom, I'm going to need to times on the top. So b can be times by x, and it can be times by 2x plus 1. And now finally c. C needs to have again a common denominator. So I'm going to extend out the line. It's already got the 2x plus 1. So I need to then times by the x and the x minus 1 to make it have exactly the same. Remember, in multiplication, order doesn't matter, so we're just going to put them in as we saw them. But whatever you times on the bottom, you're going to have to times on the top. Fantastic. So that's all three fractions multiplied by something that makes, on the top and the bottom, that makes the denominators all the same. Because the denominators are all the same, even including the beginning one, then I can cancel them all out. And all I'm left with is the top to worry about. I just neaten that up. And the top is what we call an identity. An identity means that it has to work, both sides have to give you the identical number, the identical answer, regardless of what number you put in for x. The answer you get out for both sides has to be identical. So that means that you're free to choose whichever x you like, and I didn't put in the squared, so let me just put that in now. So you're free to put in whatever x value you like, and you can use the knowledge that both sides have to end up giving you the same answer, the same number as an answer. So what's going to make our life easy? What value can I put in for x in order to make as little as possible end up on the left and the right? The clue is the brackets. So if you can make one of them 0, then the whole thing, that whole term will become 0. X minus 1, let's make x 1 and see what happens. On the left, 6 times 1 squared, that's just 6, plus 5 times 1 is just 5. Take away the 2, that's going to be 11, take away 2, which makes 9. So on the left I have 9, and that means the right hand side also has to end up as 9. So let's see, x has to stay as 1, so that means all of this is going to disappear. So I'll just get 0, plus x is still 1, so that's going to be, let me do the bracket bit first, 2 times 1 plus 1 makes 3, times 1, still 3, times b makes 3b, and then staying as x is 1, brilliant, this 1 take away 1 becomes 0, that's going to disappear, so now I have 0 here as well. Don't need to write in the zeros. The 3b is the important bit, so 3 times b has to make 9, divide both sides by 3, cancel the 3, and you're left with b is equal to 3. So now I know that my first fraction has 3, my second fraction with b on the top has 3 on the top. Okay, brilliant. X equals 1, that helped a lot. And what about another value of x then? Because I want to find out c and a as well. So now 1 helped knock out quite a lot. So let's go with 0, because if I put 0 in, then that means this whole thing is going to become 0. So let's put x is 0. Should be very easy to work out on the left. 6 times 0 plus 5 times 0 take away 2. That's just take away minus 2. X is 0. Well, this doesn't quite become 0, but I've got minus 1. I've got 1, so minus 1 times 1. And that's going to become minus a. So just do that slowly. I've got 0 take away 1. That's minus 1. I've got 2 times 0 plus 1. That's 1. Minus 1 times 1 is minus 1, times a is minus a. Okay, and now for the next bit, x is 0, so that whole thing is going to become 0. X is 0, so that whole thing is going to become 0. So I've got minus a is equal to minus 2. Take the minuses, cancel the minuses from both sides. You're left with a is equal to 2. And now the last one, we can put any value we want. If I put 1, I've already put 1. I can't put 0, I've already put 0. So you could just put maybe 2. So let's go with x is 2. This one will have a lot more numbers on because we're not really knocking out any of the terms, cancelling out any of the terms completely, but let's just do it. On a calculator if you want, 6 times 2 squared plus 5 times 2 take away 2. So that's going to be 24 plus 10 take away 2. So that's 32 on this side. And then sticking with x is equal to 2. On the right hand side, I think I'll let you do this one. So if x is 2, you tell me what will this work out to be, what will the second term work out to be, what will the third term work out to be. I'll give you about a minute. Okay, let's just check if we've got any response. Okay, it looks like you need a little bit more time, so I'll give you a few more seconds. Okay, and let's see how you did. So x is 2, so that works out to be 10a. Does it? Let's just quickly check that. 2 take away 1 is 1. 2 times 2 plus 1 is 5. 1 times 5 is 5, so 5a. So good job, we checked that. 5a. And the next one should be 10. It's 10b. Let's just quickly check that. X is 2. 2 times x plus 1 would be 5. 2 times 5 is 10, so that looks good. 10b. And then lastly, x is 2 here. 2 times 1, 2c. Okay, now what might look a bit of a problem because we've got 3 unknowns and only 1 equation, but have a look. Because of the work we've done before, we know that b is 3, a is 2, so let's use that. B is 3, so 10 times B would be 30. A is 2, so 5A would be 10. 10 plus 30 makes 40, so I've got 32 equals 40 plus 2C. Take the 40 across, and I'm going to have minus 8. Is equal to 2c. Can get rid of the plus. Just bring that closer to the times equal sign. So then divide both sides by 2. got your answer for C as -4. C is equal to -4. Okay, great. So our job was to split the original fraction into 3 smaller fractions. So let's bring back the fraction we were trying to split. And I've got to remember to write in the square sign this time. So it's 6x squared plus 5x minus 2 on the top. The brackets are x minus 1, x plus 2, 2x plus 1 on the bottom. This is the fraction I'm trying to split. There's the fraction line, and there's the squared. So what does it split into? We know the 3 factors, the x minus 1, the 2x plus 1, they'll be denominators. So that means I'm going to have 3 fractions. One with